Shall I go ahead and share, or we'll wait for a minute? So this is where we left last time. Are you worried? Do you have many what if thoughts? You are identified with your mind, which is projecting itself into an imaginary future situation and creating fear. There is no way that you can cope with such a situation because it doesn't exist. It's a mental phantom. You can stop this health and life corroding insanity simply by acknowledging the present moment. Because become aware of your breathing. Feel the air flowing in and out of your body. Feel your inner energy field. All that you ever have to deal with, cope with in real life, as opposed to imaginary mind projections, is this moment. Ask yourself what problem you have right now, not next year, tomorrow, or 5 minutes from now. What is wrong with this moment? You can always cope with the now, but you can never cope with the future, nor do you have to. The answer, the strength, the right action, or the resource will be there when you need it, not before, not after.
Before we read again, let's relate it with our own lives, because that is the rule from now. The first paragraph, the moment we read it, we relate the content with our life, especially this word, what if. How many times this happens in our life? How often we have been into the trap of what if. What if? Does it mean that we are escaping from the present moment and wandering an imagination about what's going to happen in the future? हिंदी में बताना है इसको। पहला पैराग्राफ अब से हम जब ही पढ़ेंगे उसको अपने जीवन के साथ, जीवन के जो घटनाएं हैं उसके साथ रिलेट करके देखेंगे, आजमाएंगे, पहचानेंगे। जैसे आज ये व्हाट इफ वाली बात लिखी गई है, आप अपने जीवन में कितने बार इस ट्रैप में गिरते हैं? व्हाट इफ, अगर ऐसा होता तो। मतलब जो हो रहा है उसको नकार के हम ऐसा होता तो एक अजीब यूटोपिक इमेजिनेशन में विराज करना चाहते हैं, और उसमें हम वर्तमान से जुदा हो जाते हैं। अब दोबारा पढ़ेंगे ऋषि।
Are you worried? Do you have many what if thoughts? You are identified with your mind, which is projecting itself into an imaginary future situation and creating fear. There is no way that you can cope with such a situation because it doesn't exist. It's a mental phantom. You can stop this health and life corroding insanity simply by acknowledging the present moment. Become aware of your breathing. Feel the air flowing in and out of your body. Feel your inner energy field. All that you ever have to deal with, cope with in real life, as opposed to imaginary and mind projection, is this moment. Ask yourself what problem you have right now, not next year, tomorrow, or 5 minutes from now. What is wrong with this moment? You can always cope with the now, but you can never cope with the future, nor do you have to. The answer, the strength, the right action, or the resource will be there when you need it, not before, not after.
चलो reflect करिए. Share its relevance in the context of your life. Let's share.
It's a loop, I believe. What's it? What if will always put you into a loop of thoughts.
Rishi, voice cut गया.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel that it's a loop of thoughts. Whenever you're thinking, like, what if this will happen in future? What if that happens in future? If you get into that situation, you may not be able to come out of it. You may need to really look into your present moment and bring yourself back by really making yourself aware of your breathing. So it's I feel it's a continuous loop. You keep thinking, okay, let me do this. If I do this, what if this happens, or what if that happens? And then we start really thinking about actions, what we should be taking now, and then in future, what will we do? So it's a loop, continuous thought loop, which we get entangled into.
Good input. Any interesting input? And another one, and anybody who would relate with this in the context of life, the what if trap.
Ashit, I see it in the present moment context also. What if happens even in the present moment? What if that would have happened right now? This, not this. What if you would have done this? So we are as such separating ourselves from reality. Also, there's a lot of non-acceptance in the what if, non-acceptance of what is. So yes, again, to come back, breathing is the anchor that grounds you in the present moment and makes you ready to accept. First, know, acknowledge, and then accept what it is.
Good, nice relationship with your life. Any other idea? Okay, I will throw 2 words for you. First word in basket 1, second word in basket 2. I really love this basket 1, basket 2 metaphor. So in the basket 1, put that word called imagination. Feel. Imagination, imaginary. Imagine, kalpana. Second basket, contemplation. The question is how these two are different. If at all they are different, how these two are different. Number 1, see, I'm using this piece of paper I always write. Number 2, all right, if it is different, then let us find out the actual instrument we use for the basket 1, for imagination, and the basket 2, contemplation. If these two are different, do we use the same instrument for both? Or the instrument we use are also different? दो शब्दों में हम मनन करेंगे। एक बास्केट 1 में डालेंगे इमेजिनेशन, जिसकी हिंदी है कल्पना। हम कल्पना करते हैं, कल्पना क्या है, ये कल्पना के अतीत है, ये सारे बातें करते हैं। ये शब्दों का जो माया जाल है, इसमें थोड़ा सा मनन करें। बास्केट 2 में कॉन्टेम्पलेशन, इसकी हिंदी क्या होगी? रिफ्लेक्शन, कॉन्टेम्पलेशन। ये इमेजिनेशन है या अलग है? कॉन्टेम्पलेशन की दूसरा प्रति शब्द शायद मेडिटेशन भी है। मेडिटेट करना, कॉन्टेम्पलेट
चिंतन
करना।
चिंतन।
चिंतन तो इधर हो गया, चिंता तो गड़बड़ वाली बात होगी,
It is
इमेजिनेशन।
चिंतन, not चिंता. चिंता and
चिंता और
चिंतन is
चिंतन में
different.
फर्क है क्या?
Yes.
ओके, आई डिडंट नो दैट।
चिंतन is
Same as
this
Manan.
thing, मनन
Yes.
करना.
अच्छा, मनन भी फिर इधर से निकल गया बास्केट 1 से। बास्केट 1 है कल्पना, बास्केट 2 है मनन चिंतन। इस दोनों में अंतर क्या है, अंतर है कि नहीं? और दूसरा सवाल यह है, जब ये दोनों घटित होता है, जब हम कल्पना करते हैं, जरिया क्या है? कौन सा इंस्ट्रूमेंट यूज करके हम कल्पना में चले जाते हैं? और जब हम मनन करते हैं, वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट सेम है या कोई दूसरा इंस्ट्रूमेंट हमारे अंदर में है जिसको हम यूज करते हैं? क्या अभिमत है आपकी, क्या फीलिंग है आपकी, आपकी भावना क्या है इसमें?
Can I?
यस।
So, Ashit, I think when we contemplate, we are looking at something with all the aspects in mind. But when we are imagining, we are it's in our mind. Contemplation is maybe like a real situation where we are looking at all the dimensions of it, whereas imagination is something which doesn't exist at all. It is just in our minds, in our fancy, maybe, if that's the right word.
And what are the two instruments?
Instruments, as in?
The instrument we use for imagination and the instrument we use for contemplation.
I'm not sure of this.
For imagination, we only use our brains. For contemplation, we use our hearts also.
That's
Maybe.
wonderful. ये पढ़िए, सेकंड लाइन पढ़िए। You are identified with your mind. What if ट्रैप में जब गिरते हैं तब हम अपने माइंड को यूज करते हैं। Ravina is right, mind is synonymous to brain here. The lower mind, thinking mind, compulsive thoughts, subconscious mind. देखिए एकहट कितना बढ़िया तरीके से आपको अलर्ट कर रहे हैं, आप अपने माइंड को यूज करते हैं जब आप व्हाट इफ ट्रैप में गिरते हैं। और जब हम कॉन्टेम्पलेट करते हैं तब हम कॉन्शियसनेस को यूज करते हैं। इंस्ट्रूमेंट ये है। सो माइंड इज इक्विवेलेंट टू ब्रेन and consciousness is equivalent to heart. Not exactly equivalent, but more related to heart. Okay? हार्ट का खेल को फील करिए और माइंड का खेल को फील करिए, लाइफ चेंज हो जाएगा। इसमें ज्यादा धोखा है। ये दोनों में से कौन सी चीज ज्यादा धोखा देते हैं? तो गाना तो हम बहुत गाते हैं, दिल ने धोखा दे दिया। दिल कभी धोखा नहीं देता, सोच धोखा दे देती है। अपना थॉट्स, क्योंकि वो रियल नहीं है, वो इमेजिनेशन है. So we got beautiful things today: imagination and contemplation. Imagination is a mental process, and contemplation is a consciousness process. Imagination is about the past and the future. Contemplation is always about the present.
It's the same difference as the reaction and the response.
Correct. We are able to connect that now. So let's go to the second paragraph, Rishi.
One day I'll make it. Is your goal taking up so much of your attention that you reduce the present moment to a means to an end? I'll read this again. One day I'll make it. Is your goal taking up so much of your attention that you reduce the present moment to a means to an end? Is it taking the joy out of your doing? Are you waiting to start living? If you develop such a mind pattern, no matter what you achieve or get, the present will never be good enough. The future will always seem better. The perfect recipe for permanent dissatisfaction and non-fulfillment. Don't you agree? Are you happy?
Just a moment. एक शब्द हम यूज करते हैं, मान लीजिए कोई बहुत ज्यादा तकलीफ में है, दुख में है. कितनी बार आपने उनको बोला? ये हमारा तो नॉर्थ इंडिया का हमने देखा है, तो नॉर्थ क्यों, हमारे बंगाल में भी ऐसा ही है, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. ये सोच कह करके हम कितना प्राइड लेते हैं कि बंदे को कितना दिलासा दे रहे हैं हम, कितना उनको मजबूत बना रहे हैं. सब ठीक हो जाएगा, इस शब्द पे ध्यान दें. जब आप ऐसा कहते हैं, क्या साथ साथ आप ऐसा नहीं कह रहे हैं उसको, जिस सिचुएशन में तुम हो वो ठीक नहीं है, आगे आने वाले दिन में ऐसा सिचुएशन होगा जो ठीक होगा. आप उसको एस्केपिस्ट बनाने में मदद करते हैं कि नहीं करते? एक नंबर. दूसरा, उसकी जो तकलीफ है, जो दुनियादारी की तकलीफ है, वो जो टेम्पोररी है, उसको आप परमानेंट की मर्यादा दे देते हैं. अब जो प्रेजेंट स्थिति है उसको नकारते हैं, वर्तमान को आप ठोकते हैं, ठुकराते हैं. ये सही किस्म की मोटिवेशन, ये इंस्पिरेशन है क्या, या एक बचने का तगादा है, बचने का एक सर्वाइवल मोड है, जिसमें आप उनको टेम्पोररीली फॉल्सिफाई करके उसको बचाना चाहते हैं, हकीकत से निकाल देते हैं आप उनको, एक इमेजिनेशन में डाल देते हैं. मुझे ऐसा लगता है, मैं सही सोच रहा हूं गलत? सब ठीक हो जाएगा, चिंता मत करो, सब ठीक हो जाएगा.
On the flip side of this, also, if somebody is in a pretty bad situation, how will you deal with it? You can't say that. Yeah, I mean, you can say that yes, you have to face this today, but at the same time, you'll always say that yeah, things will be better soon. I mean, बुरे दिन अच्छे दिन नहीं रहे तो बुरे दिन भी नहीं रहेंगे. So something like this you'll be saying.
पर्टिनेंट क्वेश्चन है कोई जवाब इसका?
So, Ashit, if I see someone dealing with a challenging situation, I say stay strong, or more power to you to deal with whatever you're dealing with. So I think, yeah. And when I started saying this, I think the thought behind it was to give them at least pray for more strength for them to deal with it in the now, as opposed to putting them in a future la la land or whatever you can call it.
असित, एक शब्द मैंने सुना था, सिंपैथी और अपैथी, तो ये दोनों से कनेक्टेड है क्या ये चीज?
बताइए, पीयूष ने बहुत जबरदस्त बात करी है। सिंपैथी और एपैथी नहीं, एम्पैथी।
एम्पैथी, हाँ, अंग्रेजी कमजोर है मेरी।
कोई बात नहीं। सिंपैथी और एम्पैथी, इसके साथ रिलेट करिए पीयूष का सवाल। विच वन इज सिंपैथी?
So when we study EI, this comes in, and so sympathy is when you are when you're just acknowledging maybe a situation a person is going through, but empathy is when you really feel the problem or the challenge and really put yourself in their shoes or something like that.
नहीं, हाउ आर यू रिलेटिंग इट? तो डेफिनेशन आप तो बहुत बढ़िया बोला है, मैं डेफिनेशन में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं हूँ।
saying stay strong is empathy. Saying that things will be better in future would be sympathy.
सेइंग स्ट्रांग बोलने से क्या होगा? वो स्ट्रांग हो जाएगा?
No, but एक strength तो मिलती है कोई भी, that you are there with me. एक
पता
से
नहीं।
दो भले
मुझे
होता
लगता
है,
है
you are
स्टेइंग
there with
स्ट्रांग,
me.
स्टे स्ट्रांग बोलने से इस मोमेंट को डील करने की बात हो रही है।
हाँ हाँ,
एटलीस्ट इट्स बेटर देन
like
delving into
you
the
can
future.
say you stay strong, I'm there with you and you're not alone.
ओ अच्छा, रवीना, आप कह रहे हैं कि मैं स्ट्रांग अभी नहीं हूँ, आप याद दिला रही है मुझे स्ट्रांग बनना है।
No, I mean, I also say more power to you. So that doesn't mean that you're not already powerful, but maybe you need more
More strength
or more power to deal with that, or
in
it's
this
just an
particular
expression.
situation.
Yes.
I'm relating it with my profession, my main profession today, and the most interesting profession is coaching. I'm doing enough coaching, I mean, and all my clients are basically in that situation which requires me to say सब ठीक हो जाएगा। उसमें से मुझे एक क्लाइंट नहीं मिलेगा, सब भाग जाएगा, क्योंकि फिर मैं कोच कैसे बना? मैं आपको एक सोल्यूशन दे सकता हूं, मेरे ट्रेड सीक्रेट। हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड? इस सिचुएशन में सब ठीक हो जाएगा नहीं कह के एक दूसरा तरीका मैं बता सकता हूं।
So if you give according to you, whatever it is, if you give a solution or if you show the way to the person who is in that situation.
फिलोसॉफी नहीं, बताइए क्या करना है मुझे, क्या बोलेंगे आप जिससे मैं एक्टिवेट हो जाऊंगा? You get more power is an advice, and that's a sympathy, according to me.
आमिर खान तो ऑल इज वेल कहने को कहता है।
तो वो तो
all is well, all is well.
वो तो सबसे बड़ा धोखा है। मैं कहता हूं, what are we learning from this? अब देखिए ये हमें क्या सिखा रहा है, इस सिचुएशन से, इस हादसे से मुझे क्या सीख मिलता है, और more specifically when my client is awakened, I ask him, Can you tell me 3 things that you are learning from here? अब कहाँ होगा, उसका मन कहाँ जाएगा, उसका सोच कहाँ जाएगा? Can you tell me 2 things that we are learning from here? I'm very curious to know 2 things which you are learning from here. 2 things this situation is teaching us. Not you, us. You कहने से सिंपैथी हो जाएगा, us कहने से एम्पैथी होगा. आपने शेयर किया, मैंने प्रॉब्लम को अपनाया, अब दोनों मिल करके सोच रहे हैं कि ये जो हादसा हुआ है इससे हमें क्या सीख मिल रहा है फ्यूचर के लिए, आगे के लिए, और आगे के लिए भी छोड़ दीजिए, हमें इस वक्त क्या सीख मिल रहा है. Doesn't it make us more powerful? Doesn't it offer a natural shift from the trap? इसको एनएलपी में हम लोग कहते हैं चेंज योर माइंडसेट. जब आप क्लाइंट का माइंडसेट चेंज कर देते हैं, उसकी तकलीफ हल्का हो जाता है, उसका सोच को जब बदल देते हैं, तब उसकी इंटेंसिटी ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम घट जाता है. प्रॉब्लम तो वही रहता है, अपने मन को तो ताकतवर बनाना है ना, तभी तो हम उसको झेलेंगे. तो हमें बड़े क्लेवर तरीके से उनको शिफ्ट कराना पड़ेगा. सिर्फ क्लेवर नहीं, बहुत जेन्युइन तरीके से कराना पड़ेगा कि हर सिचुएशन तो एक सीख देता है हमें. लाइफ इज द ग्रेटेस्ट टीचर. ये तो यूनिवर्सल ट्रूथ है. सो व्हाट लाइफ इज टीचिंग अस फ्रॉम दिस? Then this guy may not be a victim, he will become a learner. Let us proceed to the next.
Can somebody else read from here?
Sure.
May I?
Go ahead, don't ask.
Yeah. Are you a habitual waiter? How much of your life do you spend waiting? What I call small scale waiting. Is waiting in line at the post office, in a traffic jam, at the airport, or waiting for someone to arrive, to finish work, and so on. Large scale waiting is waiting for the next vacation, for a better job, for the children to grow up, for a truly meaningful relationship, for success, to make money, to be important, to become enlightened. It is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. Very true.
Wow.
Waiting
Waiting.
is
Mm.
waiting is a state of mind. Basically, it means that you want the future.
Mm.
You don't want that you have what you have got, and you want. Rishi, please scroll up. You don't want what you have got, and you want what you haven't got. With every kind of waiting, you unconsciously create inner conflict between your here and now, where you don't want to be, and the projected future, where you want to be. This greatly reduces the quality of your life by making you lose the present. There is nothing wrong with striving to improve your life situation. You can improve your life situation, but you cannot improve your life. Life is primary. Life is your deepest inner being. It is already whole, complete, perfect. Your life situation consists of your circumstances and your experiences. There is nothing wrong with setting goals and striving to achieve things. The mistake lies in using it as a substitute for the feeling of life, for being. The only point of access for all is the now. You are then like an architect who pays no attention to the foundation of a building but spends a lot of time working on superstructure.
We'll wait. And what you guys feel about these two words, life and life situation? What is the characteristic difference between the two?
Life situation is the present moment, and life includes past and future as well. So you cannot improve your life, but you can improve your life situation, which is
Is it the
present.
right answer, or is it terribly wrong?
I feel it's the opposite.
Yeah. Explain it.
Life is when you are living in the present, you are enjoying, you are being happy about where you are, what you are doing, about your passion. And life situation, they keep on changing, and that's your your reaction to the situations, what you are doing at that present moment.
Ravina, it's a philosophical truth that you have represented, but my question is even more specific.
Mm.
Practically, what is life situation and what is life? प्रैक्टिकल रियलिटी में दो चीज क्या है, नहीं तो कोई चीज समझ में नहीं आएगा.
Reality, like in that video also, Eka Tolle had mentioned that the what is present is that you are waiting in the queue, but you can't do anything about it. You have to be there. So just thinking about future, that
No, 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 no. He never said that you can't do anything. You can do a lot of things.
I mean, you can observe people, he said,
Yeah,
but
so you can't do
you
anything.
can't do anything about reducing that line or
Oh,
your.
that's a compulsive thought. I will not encourage it.
uh,
That's a
you
compulsive
you
thought.
just need to accept it. I mean, you don't have to think that ऐसा होता ये लाइन क्यों लगी हुई है and all
देखिए,
that.
हर वक्त वो उल्फ बैठा हुआ है आपको पकड़ने के लिए. एक शब्द यूज करेंगे, फटक से पकड़ लेगा और नीचे ले जाएगा आपको.
Hmm.
शब्दों की माया जाल में मत पड़िए. बड़े सोच, बड़े फीलिंग के साथ कहना पड़ेगा, मैं और कुछ कर नहीं सकता, इसीलिए मुझे कुछ अच्छा करना पड़ेगा. उसमें से वो उल्फ पकड़ लेगा, ये बंदा कह रहा है मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता, इधर ही पकड़ो उसको.
Again,
मजबूरी.
accept the situation and learn from it and move ahead.
हाँ. अच्छा, लाइफ सिचुएशन और लाइफ क्या है और बताइए. आई हैव टू क्लैरिफाई दिस बिकॉज एवरीथिंग डिपेंड्स ऑन दिस नाउ. बहुत सारी इल्यूशन है इसमें. राहत, लाइफ सिचुएशन एंड लाइफ प्लीज.
Ashit, life is, to me, life is the breath. सांस नहीं है तो life नहीं है. So, life consists of a series of breaths that we take, and life situation is everything else. Waking up, getting married, going to work, these are situations. But life is in the breath. सांस नहीं है तो जिंदगी खत्म.
अच्छा है, मुझे और क्लैरिटी चाहिए चीज को
Ashit,
बड़ी क्लियरली. हाँ.
life situations are external and life is internal.
More. I want to know more from you. देखिए, सुनिए.
Life is, हाँ जी.
बहुत अच्छी तरह से फील करिए, क्योंकि इसी के ऊपर पूरी चीज की क्लैरिटी है. क्या आप मानते हैं किसी भी कोई भी रिलीजन में आप बिलोंग करते हैं, किसी भी रिलीजन में आपकी रियरिंग अप हुई हो, क्या आप मानते हैं कि आपका आपका दो हिस्सा है, एक शरीर और एक आत्मा? मानते हैं कि नहीं? मानते कि नहीं मानते?
जी.
हाँ
जी.
जी.
इसमें से कौन सा डेथलेस है और कौन सा डेथफुल है?
शरीर डेथफुल है और प्राण जो है वो डेथलेस है।
पर दोनों लिविंग हैं, एक टेम्पोररी और एक परमानेंट।
हाँ जी।
तो आपका बड़ा जीवन कौन सा है? आपका आत्मा है या शरीर है?
आत्मा।
दैट इज लाइफ। एंड आपकी शरीर लाइफ सिचुएशन है, खत्म हो जाएगा, टेम्पोररी। सीधी सीधी बात को पहचानिए। लाइफ सिचुएशन इज द टेन्योर फ्रॉम योर बर्थडे टू द डेथ डे। ये है लाइफ सिचुएशन, ये पूरा मिलकर के लाइफ सिचुएशन, क्योंकि ये एक सिचुएशन है, ये लाइफ नहीं है। लाइफ तो पहले भी था, आज भी है, आगे भी रहेगा। आपका आत्मा पहले भी था। भगवत गीता का यही है, गुरबानी का यही है, सारे रिलीजन का यही है, क्रिश्चियनिटी का। लाइफ इज इटर्नल। मैं ये सवाल पूछ रहा था, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक डिफरेंस क्या है? जो अभी मनमीत ने बताया, इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल से काफी चीज कंफ्यूज हो जाता है। सिर्फ एक्सटर्नल नहीं, सही है, आंसर करेक्ट है। एक्सटर्नल मतलब विजिबल, आपका शरीर, आपका पिक्चर, आपका प्रोफाइल। देखिए, माई हेयर्स वर ब्लैक, नाउ इट इज ग्रे, इट इज चेंजिंग, ephemeral. My skins are not so tight as it used to be a couple of years ago. देवानंद इस गले में मफलर पहनता था, जानते हो क्यों? वो गले का जो श्रिंक है ना, वो दिखता था एज ए हीरो, बुढ़ा ना लगे, इसीलिए गले में मफलर बांधता था वो। सो लाइफ सिचुएशन इज दिस टेम्पोरल identity of yours, which is ephemeral, which is transient, which is limited, but your life always flows beneath the life situation that's there all the time, that is there now. It doesn't have a past, it doesn't have a future. The past and future are relative. Moment you come in the body, moment you transcend the body, relativity is gone, you are absolutely life. So the great fact is, life doesn't have a past and future. Only life situation has a past and future. Life is continuous. जो चीज कंटिन्यूअस है उसका कोई पास्ट नहीं है, कोई फ्यूचर नहीं है, वो तो गति है, गतिशील है। तो ये प्रेजेंट मोमेंट में आपका लाने का क्या है? स्पिरिचुअल पर्सपेक्टिव। आपको आत्मा में रहना सिखा रहे हैं। जब तक आप शरीर में रहेंगे, सारे डर, सारे परेशानी, सारे घबराहट, सारे टेम्पोररी बिहेवियर आपकी अमानत होगी। और जब आप ऑपरेट करेंगे आत्मा से, हर टाइम आप फील करेंगे आत्मन नहीं वो आत्मना तुष्ट, मैं आत्मा हूं, मेरा शरीर है। एज इफ कहता है, आई एम ए स्पिरिचुअल बीइंग हैविंग अ ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस। then you are on the reality. If you say, I am a human being having a spiritual experience, you are degrading life and valuing life situation. Any feedback? Not realized?
Learning.
Goes over the head? Aditi?
This morning when I was trying to log into, you had suggested that us to register at that Zoom thing. So it asks you about you. So this was really a question for me. What do I say about me? But then when you say that we are spiritual beings with the human, in the human experience, it really makes sense to me right now. Oh, what else to actually define yourself? We are all spiritual beings. I am a spiritual being. Right now, whatever it is my human experience, and whatever we call it as sufferings, problems, they are only pertaining to this human life, probably. They are. What I feel is probably they are a part of my growing up. So each and every moment is important as a human experience. Sometimes I feel that I can't miss on the present moment.
Any other feedback? Let's proceed next. Anybody else would read?
I'll go. For example, many people are waiting for prosperity. It cannot come in the future. When you honor, acknowledge, and fully accept your present reality, where are you? Who are you? What are you doing right now? When you get, when you fully accept what you have got, you are grateful for what you have got, grateful for what is, grateful for being, gratitude for the present moment and the fullness of life now is the true prosperity. It cannot come in the future. Then in time that prosperity manifests for you in various ways. If you're dissatisfied with what you have got, or even frustrated or angry about your present lack, that you may motivate you that may motivate you to become rich, but even if you do make millions, you will continue to experience the inner condition of lack, and deep down you will continue to feel unfulfilled. You may have many exciting experiences that money can buy, but they will come and go and always leave you with an empty feeling and the need for further physical or psychological gratification. You won't abide in being and so feel the fullness of life. Now that alone is true prosperity. So give up waiting as a state of mind. When you catch yourself slipping into waiting, snap out of it. Come into the present moment. Just be and enjoy being. If you are present, there is never any need for you to wait for anything. So next time somebody says, sorry to have kept you waiting, you can reply, that's all right. I wasn't waiting. I was just standing here enjoying myself. Enjoy in myself.
In myself.
In myself. So shall we stop
Shall I
here?
read ahead?
कितना बड़ा है पैराग्राफ, इसको खत्म करके रोके.
Okay.
हाँ,
Yeah.
तो ये पढ़ के रोके.
Okay,
Go ahead.
let me read. These are just a few of the habitual mind strategies for denying the present moment that are part of ordinary unconsciousness. They are easy to overlook because they are so much a part of normal living, the background static of perpetual discontent.
Perpetual.
Yes, perpetual discontent. But the more you practice monitoring your inner mental emotional state, the easier it will be to know when you have been trapped in the past or future, which is to say unconscious, and to awaken out of the dream of time into the present. But beware, the false unhappy self based on mind identification lives on time. It knows that present moment is its own death and so feels very threatened by it. It will do all it can to take you out of it. It will try to keep you trapped in time. What a profound
Beautiful.
thing.
We are not living life. We are just thriving on our life situation. Okay. Any reflection? सारे समस्या का समाधान इधर है. Life, live your life. We are not living our life, capital L. We are just living a life. The life and a life. We are not living the life where integrated Atma and body are together all the time. That is so aham. That is the ultimate goal of spirituality. This is the goal all Paigambars have come to teach us. We are separated. We are just living a body. Spirituality is adding the spirit to the reality. This is not reality. This is relativity. Past, future, present. Moment you add the real with the relative, then it becomes life, reality. Those who live this kind of life are wise people. So only missing factor in our life is the wisdom, the spirit. When these two are connected, every moment in our feeling, in our expression, in every step that we take, when we teach, my spirit is teaching. When I teach with my life situation, only 10% of mine is teaching. My body is teaching. So I'm not so effective. When Sant Kabir was teaching, it was wisdom. Doha, do line mein bata diya life. Because he was connected. When we teach in the school and the college, we teach through our knowledge, through our certification, through our qualifications. As a student, change it now. When we sit for the examination, our knowledge, our brain, our body is writing the examination, writing the answer of the question from the memory. Ta, 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 ta. My syllabus. So I get less marks. When I'm answering the question as a life with the wisdom, then my answer is a miracle. However brief it is, whoever reads it is going to hit, will shine out in glory. When we go for the interview, our body is giving the interview. We are not giving an interview. in every walk of life. When we are practicing as a doctor, we are practicing through our knowledge, not through our wisdom. So this is the lesson that we take today: how to become total, how to thrive, how not to thrive as a life situation, and how to live our whole being, our life. And present moment is a platform to ascend into that higher life. I wonder if it makes any sense to anyone.
Completely, Ashit.
So with that, we'll go for the video today. Week before the last, right?
Yes, also.
Repeat the video.
Yeah.
So we are moving beyond thought, not back. We step beyond thought. This is humanity's destiny. And it's urgent now, not in the sense of, oh, we must get there. It's urgent in the sense that there is an intensity now to the arising consciousness, because the madness that is the dysfunction of the old consciousness is also getting accelerating. It gets worse, and at the same time the new is already arising. The two movements, the old still not even having reached yet the end of its madness, and the new arising at the same time. The old is still much more visible in this world, the madness of the old state of consciousness, with its need for conflict and problems, and the violence that arises out of that state, and the immeasurable suffering that humans inflict on each other and on themselves out of that state. That madness is continuing on the planet. You only need to watch the news on TV or read the paper. That's a continuation of what we have seen in the 20th century and before that. And the new is arising, not so much visible on the surface of things yet. Rarely mentioned in the media. Occasionally it is mentioned already here and there. So, this is why we are here. Simply not to make it happen, but to allow it to happen. We are simply opening the door wider so that it can, less and less, we're not offering resistance to that anymore. So your practice here is continuous, but don't make impossible demands upon yourself. Of course you will get drawn even here back into mind streams, yes. You may reincarnate into a reactive mind stream. And then a moment comes when suddenly there's an awakening out of that. Oh. And you can see how clear, how obvious the difference between the states of the awakened state. A moment ago, you were in that heaviness, that dense energy. And suddenly, you step out, and it's also like having left, like when you're on the plane, it goes through the clouds, and suddenly the clouds are underneath you. Oh, and there's vast, clear space, infinite. And the clouds are still there, but you're not in them anymore. Oh. And so as you walk here through the gardens along the river, see if you can be in that state where the sense perception does not absorb your attention entirely, nor the mental labels that arise to do with those sense perceptions or to do with something totally different. They don't absorb your attention totally. Attention remains free as the field of attention. In other words, you perceive in and through stillness without needing to label everything immediately through the mind. Of course, you know you're looking at this flower, you know it's a flower without having to tell yourself that this is a flower. You know it's beautiful without having to tell yourself that it's beautiful. And so you realize that there is vast knowing beyond mental labels and concepts. And then you know far more than you could ever know through labels or concepts, because you sense there is a depth to that which we call flower and an aliveness to that which we call flower. That mystery that is not explained by the label flower at all. That mystery that is covered up by the label flower and gives you the delusion that now you know what it is. Just a sound. You've made a sound that has come out of your mouth, or you've uttered the sound in your mind, and that gives you the delusion that you know what that is. Children are told that when they learn a language, the delusion is reinforced every time you tell a child, that's called such and such. I have forgotten the names of flowers. What's that? Gladioli. This is a gladioli, if that's what it is. And the child will believe you. Dreadful. So what can you do do you tell a child, don't call it anything? That doesn't work either. But you might say to a child, well, look at it, smell it, touch it. Look. And then, as an afterthought, yeah, you can say, oh, by the way, we call it such and such, instead of saying, it is such and such. Then that creates some distance from the label, so that the child doesn't totally believe in that label. Because then you get more and more trapped in concepts and labels until you reach the age of, then finally at 18, you're totally imprisoned. You've been through the system that has done it even more to you, and you're totally imprisoned in a conceptualized reality of mental labels that concern both the world around you, and they're all conditioning. All the surrounding culture has conditioned you with whatever mental labels they've put into you, and you inhabit a conceptualized reality, not knowing how dead your universe has become, how dead and deadened your reality has become. And you live equally in a conceptualized sense of self. You make yourself into mental concepts, and so this is the essence of not knowing who you are. That's the essence of this false self. Once you have a false self, nothing is seen as it is, and everything is misinterpreted through that conditioning. Everything is distorted and deadened through that conditioning. And that's how people live. And that is our entire civilization has come out of that. And is it surprising how mad the civilization is? Of course, it's not surprising considering the state of consciousness out of which it has come. So we are stepping out of that, the compulsion to label continuously, and so you move here, you walk through the gardens and along the river, and what arises is the state that is free of the need to label. And should a label arise in you as you walk, which is a thought, you recognize it as just a thought and not it. And then it arises and passes and you're back in just... And then perhaps another compulsive label comes. Okay. And then somebody comes towards you on the path, walking. And some mental judgment comes in concerning the form of this being. And you recognize it as a thought, no more. You no longer completely believe in it, you're not completely in it anymore. You allow that to be also. And then, so gaps arise in which there are no labels, in which seemingly you no longer know anything. And that's why it's a little bit frightening for some people to enter that realm, because it seems at first as if you no longer knew. And how can I need to know what's going on here. I need to judge it in some way, classify it in some way. No. And you see how beautiful, powerful, intelligent, and deep that state is of not labeling. And great intelligence operates here. But it is not the limited intelligence of the human mind. It's only a small aspect of the vastness of intelligence that ultimately you are.
Any reflection that you would like to share?
इसमें बच्चे की जो कॉन्शियसनेस होती है, इट्स एग्जैक्टली द सेम व्हाट एकट इज टेलिंग अबाउट, सेइंग कि इट्स वी टेल हिम कि ये है, अगर उसे खुला छोड़ दिया जाए तो द चाइल्ड सीज इट इन अ डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव ऑल टुगेदर, किसी भी चीज को ऑब्जर्व करके हमने कभी सोचा भी नहीं होता कि अच्छा ऐसा भी हो सकता है।
तो आज से डिफाइन करना छोड़ दीजिए, ये है, मैं ये हूँ, मैं आशिक हूँ, वो तो मेरा लाइफ सिचुएशन है, मेरा लाइफ का तो कोई नाम ही है नहीं। हाँ, इस जीवन में मैं आशिक हूँ, then it is okay.
राइट।
बहुत दिन पहले एक संत घर आया था, पुराने जमाने में ऐसे अच्छे अच्छे संत आते थे घर में, आज नहीं आते, सारे धोखेबाज आते हैं, लुटेरे बदमाश आते हैं, माफ करिएगा, not criticizing but just entertaining you. तो पहले आए थे एक बार, मैं कभी भूलूंगा नहीं, just about I think 24-25 years of age. आकर के वो हाथ में एक था उसका, थोड़ा सा हिलाया और बोला शरीर का नाम क्या है? I cannot forget this question. It has such a tremendous impact in my life. 25 साल, अब मैं 70 हूँ, 71 के नियर हूँ, तो 25 साल की एक छोटा सा सवाल मेरी लाइफ को चेंज कर दिया था। शरीर का नाम क्या है? तुम्हारा भी नहीं बोला, एग्जैक्टली उसकी शक्ल अभी भी याद है। शरीर का नाम क्या है? इतना बड़ा शिक्षा दे गया ये सवाल पूछ के। भिक्षा लेने के लिए आया था, तो पूछा शरीर का नाम क्या है? अब इसमें मनन करें, आपका तो कोई नाम है ही नहीं। ग्लैडियोलाई क्या है? बाद में जरूर कहता है कि वी कॉल इट ग्लैडियोलाई। शुरू में ही नाम दे करके उसको खत्म कर दिया। जैसे कि शांतरी ने पकड़ा रास्ते में, शुरू में ही आपने दे दिया पैसा, समाज खराब हो गया ना।
लैंग्वेज लर्निंग की बात करते हैं हम लोग बचपन से ही, और वोकैबुलरी बढ़ाओ एंड वी क्रिएट दिस होल नेटवर्क ऑफ labels all around, limits to our thoughts or consciousness.
कल से मैं एक नया चीज रियलाइज करने के बाद स्लाइड चेंज किया। आई एक्चुअली रियलाइज्ड ये इंटरनेट में वो सर्च करते जाना, मोबाइल लेके बैठे रहना, ये कितनी खतरनाक है। आई रियलाइज्ड इट फर्स्ट टाइम माई सेल्फ कि मेरा थॉट खत्म, मेरी क्रिएटिविटी खत्म हो जाती है, बिकॉज आई गेट नॉर्मली बुक्ड, आई गेट ड्रेन्ड आउट टू द मंडेन। तो मेरे में इतनी क्रिएटिविटी है, वो सब खराब हो रहा था। मैंने बहुत दिन से, मैं कितनी कुछ करने का अच्छा फील किया था कि करें, तो वो सब हुआ नहीं, टाइम पास हो गया और मैं उसी में चलता रहता हूँ। तो कल से हमने क्या किया, करते करते अचानक आई कम बैक, आई डू सम ट्रांसेंडेंटल मेडिटेशन फॉर अबाउट 10 minutes or so, and then once again I go back to the mobile or my computer or laptop. उससे my inspiration has gone up, my priorities have surfaced more brightly and brilliantly. So ये ट्रैप में पड़ना, अनकॉन्शियस कंपल्सिव, ये देखिए लिखा है मैंने, कॉन्सेप्चुअल रियलिटी। There are two kinds of realities, a conceptual reality, a conscious reality, small c to capital C. Compulsive reality to transcendental reality. So let us sit straight, relaxed, whichever way you are. मल्टीटास्किंग ना करें, जो शुरू से पीयूष जी कर रहे हैं। काम भी करेंगे और थोड़ा मेडिटेशन भी करेंगे। जब काम में चले जाते हैं तो मेडिटेशन नहीं होता, मेडिटेशन में आते हैं तो काम नहीं करते हैं, प्रेजेंट मोमेंट में है ना। जस्ट सिट रिलैक्स्ड in a position where you can normally enjoy sitting for about 10 minutes without having to move. Even if you move, there is no problem. and just be aware of your body, of your senses, of your body weight, about those parts of your body which you don't like so much and would like to change. And other parts of the body which you are fond of. Feel the existence of your cell to the extent you can. And your muscles. And your organs. And your bones and skeleton, your structure. And then begin recognizing the concept that you carry about yourself, in that your profession, your family identity and your roles, and your ambition. It seems to constitute quite a lot of your unconscious preoccupation. Recognize it. And your tasks, your fear, your apprehensions, your insecurities, and all the rest of it. And can you transcend all these together to get into your breathing for now? When you are breathing, you are only breathing. Allow yourself to recognize consciously connecting with an evergreen moment of happiness in your heart, in your heart, and not in your memory. Let that event trickle that joy, and you leave the event in the past and carry the joy to this moment, the quality of joy or happiness or gratitude or peace or stillness, and expand it, expand the joy, expand that stillness. Expand that beingness, beingness. Arrive right now and here. Your formless life permeate your being into the formless life. Recognize consciously that astral, ethereal, subtle reality about yourself. Formless, weightless, transcending the influence of gravitation. Keep expanding, keep ascending, keep evolving until you mingle into the endless void. without naming the color or definition. That experience of transcendence when all definitions have now seemingly dropped away, leaving you with your being, with your being, with your consciousness, with your essence, with your immortal reality that is you. Expand into the oneness of all things and beings in this universe. And the cosmos. Drop even the expectation of hearing anything else, but just experiencing. Be. Start breathing. Recognize your worldly existence once again, your form, sustaining the consciousness to the extent you can. Close and open your fist. Move the fingers in your shoes or feet. Then you gently open your eyes.
असित, आज यहाँ सारा लेबर आ चुकी है, सब लोग हो गए, लेकिन जब आपने कहा मल्टीटास्किंग नहीं करके एक ही टास्क करो, मैंने कोशिश करी और सफल हुआ उसमें। मुझे नहीं पता चला 10 मिनट यहाँ 8-10 लेबर आ चुकी है, लेकिन वो क्या कर रहे हैं। एक आध की आवाज कुछ बीच में एक बार मेरे कान में आई कि भाई ये कर लें क्या, तो मैं कुछ नहीं बोला, तो वो चला गया। लेकिन रियलाइज हुआ कि किया जा सकता है, और 10 मिनट का एकदम फुल रिचार्ज हो गया हूँ, ऐसा लग रहा है।
Okay. So anything else that you'd like to share, or you ask me to close the meeting today? Because we got...
लास्ट के 2 मिनट पिछले दो मेरे चाहिएंगे मुझे, यहाँ की
हाँ जी।
प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट के लिए।
हाँ जी, बताइए।
वो दिखाऊंगा वो तो।
I should stop the recording first.
जी जी।
एक सेकंड, मैं रिकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप कर दूं पहले।